I'm going to be showing you how to get started using the Tilt5 SDK in Unity. So, the first step is we need to actually get the SDK. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to tilt5.com, and when we go to the downloads, you're going to see that there's two different things that we need to grab here. The first are going to be the latest drivers. This will actually let you use the glasses with Unity. The second is going to be the SDK. Once you've downloaded both of those things, you're going to need to install them each independently. Now, I have already installed them on my machine, but as you can see here, we've got the SDK set up. You'll just give it a quick double click, hit next, I agree, and you're going to see it's going to be installing all of the Unity SDK, the plugin examples, everything is going to come with it. All you have to do is hit install, and you'll get it all set up on your system. Now, once you've installed those, you're going to need to find yourself a new Unity project. This can also be done with an existing one, but for today, I'm going to be showing it using this blank demo project I have set up. Now, important thing here is I'm going to be using Unity version 2021. This is one of their latest long-term stable versions. We support all the way back to 2018, but for demo purposes today, I'm going to be using 2021. Once you have Unity up here, you're going to see I've got a blank scene. To import the package, you're going to go ahead and go to Assets, Import Package, and Custom Package here. If you go down to, you're going to find that we install in the Program Files, Tilt5, SDK, Unity plugin, and right here you're going to find the Unity package file that you need to import. Hit Open. You're going to see it's going to bring all of these different files into your package. Go ahead and hit import. A couple seconds later, next thing you know, you've got the Tilt5 package right here in your project. Now, the most important thing you're going to want here is going to be the Tilt5 prefab. All you have to do, drag that into your scene. You're already going to see a little replica of the Tilt5 board right here in the middle of your scene. This is what all of your world scene is going to be kind of based on. This is like your origin. Since we already provide a camera, we're going to delete the main camera right there. The Tilt5 camera will be doing all of the display features for you. And let's say we want to display a cube. We'll go ahead and make a new cube in the world. Make sure it's at good position, 0, 0. Let's go ahead and make sure our cube needs to be at a good position, 0, 0. There we go. Move a little above the world. Now, assuming our glasses are coming up as ready in the Tilt5 control panel, all we have to do now, hit play. Next thing you know, as soon as the glasses recognize the board, they're going to be tracking. I've got my glasses off to the side here so I can kind of move them around, make sure they're actually seeing something. Sorry about the shake, my hand's a little shaky over there. Now, let's say we want to do a little more than just display a cube. What if we want to use the wand? Well, that is almost as easy as getting the manager set up itself. So you take the Tilt5 manager here. You can see we have settings for multiple players coming in. Well, we're going to be focusing on player 1 for today. We're going to go over to the wand tab, and I'm going to add a new sphere that I want to be following the wand around the world. I'll take this sphere object, drag it over to the aim point for the right wand, and just like that, as soon as I hit play, my glasses will now be tracking a sphere wherever it goes in the world. All I have to do is move my wand around, and everywhere the tip of my wand is, that is exactly where the sphere will appear in 3D space. Now, one final thing that we get to use, and this is really important with Unity 2021, actually 2019 forward, we're going to be using the Unity input system. Now, this is slightly different from some of the more traditional ways of getting inputs, but it allows us to fire Unity events through our wand and control different kind of inputs. So we're going to come to the input system here. We need to make sure it is included. In fact, it looks like they just had an update, so I'm going to update to the latest version here real quick. Once we get that all updated, we're going to be able to set up a new input control scheme for our wand and show you how to fire different events. Alright, now that we've got that in place, next thing we're going to do, we're going to try and put some motion controls on this cube, get it moving around in the world based on the joystick from our wand. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to add a new input component. It's going to be player input. See here, we don't have any actions yet, but if I create a new set of actions for this project, you're going to get a screen that looks a lot like this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use the already existing action maps, in particular the move one here. And I am going to add, you see it takes the control type of a vector 2. This is important. If you wanted to use button, something like that, you can always take the action type as a button. But for now we're going to use vector 2 because we want to get a joystick. We're going to add a new binding. The path, this is the important one. We're going to go to the XR controller and you're going to see there's a tilt 5 wand option here. Now the thing we want most is actually just going to be the stick value. We don't want to specify a specific hand, we just want the stick. Take the tilt 5 stick, we can go ahead and add it to all of the control schemes, just make our lives easier right now. And this action map is already going to be done. So we can go ahead and close out of that. See over here we have the default scheme. We're going to set it to any for now, doesn't really matter at the moment. We're going to leave the map to player. And instead of sending messages, we're going to invoke Unity events. This is going to be really important because we're going to actually set up a new event to be fired on our cube. Next thing we need to do, we're going to need to add a new script onto our cube here. Let's call it movement. And once that gets set up, we're going to head and open it up. Here in Visual Studio, it's going to be just a couple quick functions we have to set up. We don't need any of this start or update stuff, so we're going to go ahead and delete that. I am going to need to add a new using the Unity Engine.input system. This way we can actually use some of the new input system setup. I'm going to make a new public method called move, let's call it move cube. And the important thing here is it needs to take an input action, callback context, and let's just call that context for now. Inside, we're going to take this cube and say every time this method is called, I'm going to say this.transform.translate. So we'll be moving the cube around in 3D space. And the value we're going to take in is the context.readValue of type vector 2. This is specifically for the joystick, comes in as a vector 2. We're going to take its x component. That's going to be our first value. We're going to do a 0 for the y, and then we're going to take the context.readValue type vector 2 dot y, and this will take the y value. So what we're doing here is we're taking the, oops, got a typo, transform. We're taking the x value from the joystick of the wand and the y value from the joystick of the wand and putting them into the x and z components of our movement. This is really important because we want the y value of the wand to be able to move us forward and back in space, which in Unity is tied to the z coordinate. And we want the x value of the wand to move us left and right, which is going to be tied to the x value in the Unity coordinate system. The reason we keep y here is we want to make sure we're not moving our cube up and down in 3D space because that might start looking a little bit weird. Now, we're going to come back over to Unity here. We've got our movement script is already on our cube. We're going to come back into the player input, go into the events, player, and you see we have this move. If you remember in our input actions here, we had set up the move action with the tilt 5 wand stick value. Well, if we come back into the cube, we go into the move events, we can add a new event. The event is going to be for the cube, and the function we're going to call our movement script, and it's move cube. Just like that, if we hit play, we can find that the joystick should be moving our cube around in 3D space. All it takes It's a couple little quick clicks, and we've already got everything set up for Unity. This has been Justin, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.